Welcome to Marketing from X to Z.
The podcast specifically created for small business owners who want practical marketing advice without the hype.
We're your hosts. This is Mike Albuquerque representing Gen X.
And this is Liz Bachman, our resident Gen Zer.
We're here to share honest insights, real-world experiences,
and tangible strategies to help your small business thrive.
Hey, Mike, do you want to start a podcast?
Let's do it. Oh, hey, y'all. We're back for another one. And this time I get to ask the questions. So, Liz, we're going to be talking about social media strategies that work for small businesses. Mm-hmm. This is your episode. You're excited?
I am.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this because we, like you said, we do some webinars together, and I've gotten to see a lot of how you share your knowledge about social media with everyone. So I'm looking forward to learning some and excited for everyone that's listening.
All right, let's get into it.
Let's do it. Okay, so let's start with misconceptions.
Okay.
Right. What do you think are some of the biggest myths about social media that business owners believe?
So there's a lot of misconceptions about social media because it's one of those spaces where we have it for our personal and then we have it for our business as well, which is not really like a thing that's for websites or even like branding. Like you don't do, it's different. So for social, the first is that it's like your personal social because it's not. Mm-hmm. Because it has the background of you need to be setting goals and intentions and things like that. You're not just sharing photos of day to day, even though sharing photos of day to day is an effective tactic as long as it plays into the strategy. So when you are thinking about that, it is not the same thing as personal. So knowing how to post a pretty picture on the beach or of your food or something like that is not going to be the same thing. Mm-hmm. In that same vein, trends. People try to hop onto trends and they don't think about how it applies to their brand and they think that that is going to help them. But the reality is going viral because you hopped on something like that, if it isn't accurate to your brand, will not help you.
Yeah.
Like you can go viral for all sorts of things. I have gone viral for some very, very fun things. My first time that I went viral was for jiggling my belly fat on my personal brand page. Like 2 million people saw that. And I will tell you, it did not help my business.
What?
No, it just made me stressed. So there's that piece. Mm-hmm. And then I think the last one is people come to me thinking that social media is a magic pill that is going to fix their business problems. Mm-hmm. And it is not. Social media is a reflection of what you have in a lot of sense, like in the business that you have when it's done well. So if your business is a mess or if your marketing isn't thought through, it is going to be a reflection of that. So you're not just going to like start posting on TikTok and like we think that because there are the like 0.0000001% of business owners that get lucky and they go viral for the right thing at the right time and their business is able to handle it and it changes their lives. And that is amazing. But nobody can guarantee that. Mm-hmm. And that's not really what social media is for.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a perfect storm for that to happen.
And it's rare. Mm-hmm. So you don't want to measure your success based on that because you're going to get frustrated and burned out. Mm-hmm. And it is better to create consistent content that resonates for your ideal audience to prime yourself for the opportunity for something to land properly rather than chasing gimmicks to try and get onto somebody else's wave. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I know for business owners, like a lot of them get like frustrated and overwhelmed when dealing with that, right? Because I think there's so many points where it's like, but I saw this thing, so-and-so went viral, so-and-so business blew up overnight. What are some of the other like frustrations that you hear from small business owners and things that just get them to that sense where they're like, they're so overwhelmed and they don't want to deal with it anymore?
Okay, well, I want to address that first one that you just said, the overnight thing first, though. Just so you know, most of the people that blew up overnight after 5 years of working towards blowing up overnight. Yeah. So that's an important thing to remember is that really very, 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 very rarely happens for a business that hasn't been putting in the work for a long time up into that point and has created the opportunity for something like that to work. Right? Because luck is where preparedness meets opportunity.
Yeah.
Right? So that is very true in the social media space. Like it's super, super true. But other frustrations. Social media has all of the deliverables. There are so many little things you have to make, and it's not like nothing in marketing is set it and forget it, but there are some things that you set it and then you don't have to mess with it all of the time every week and social media is not like that. Social media, you have to put out 3, 5, 7 pieces of content every single week. So it's this constant churning wheel, and that is exhausting because most people are running a business and they don't have time for this, and it's not their specialty and it's not what they're good at. And so what they don't have are systems in place. I mean, I told us, I think it was 2 episodes ago that I'm in my systems era this year, and this is part of why. Because trying to do that without systems, that's a root of a frustration because it takes forever, and then you also don't know how to measure results because you're chronically feeling behind.
That makes a lot of sense, and that's just frustration overall, right? Just feeling like you're not doing the right things, you're not taking the right steps. It's just things are just not working out.
Yeah,
which business owners experience with a lot of things, and when you add that to social media and marketing, it's just one more.
Yeah, and trying to remember to do something every single day that is marketing oriented when you are not a marketing person is no.
It's a challenge. So, okay, let's lean on that a little bit.
Sure.
How can small business owners use social media strategically without having to spend all their time on it, without having to spend a day doing it every day?
Okay, 2 things. And these are the 2 biggest things that I talk to my consulting clients about that like really, really help them. Okay. The first, batch your tasks. Okay. And I know that sounds like really like, oh, I think I've probably heard that before because that's like common. I'm going to get a little more specific with you because you need to batch your tasks. So typically I tell people to break it into 4 different days throughout the month, like 1 day a week.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So that it's not overwhelming. And the first is the planning day. Because when you're planning stuff, you are thinking differently than creating stuff. So it's the planning day. So I want you to think about, look at your analytics. Start with your analytics. Oh my God, please start with your analytics. Start with your analytics and then build a content calendar. Figure out what you want to be posting. Make sure that you're incorporating anything that's relevant that your company's doing and all of that. And just get yourself a calendar. Done right, that takes a little bit of time. Your second day is going to be what do I need to do to make this content calendar be a thing? So think about, do you need to write creative briefs? Honestly, even if you're doing your content yourself, I highly recommend creating creative briefs because you're going to do that on a different day. And it takes a lot of the work out so that you can be in the make mode instead of the think mode when you're doing it.
That's a great point. Not having to make that change on the fly.
Because the change back and forth is exhausting. It's part of the reason you're so tired is because you're trying to do too many jobs at once. And so what I'm telling you is don't do that. Break it apart. I get the instinct. I do. I am not a perfect practitioner of this method by any stretch of the imagination, but it makes a huge difference. It also, if you do it in this order, gives you the chance that if you are going to use a graphic designer or a freelancer, somebody like that, it gives them time to complete the work because you can give them out the creative briefs. And it lets you plan out what videos you're going to make and things like that. So basically, what do I need to do? How am I going to do it? Day 3, doing it.
Okay.
So day 3 is you may need a day 2.5 if you're shooting video of yourself, depending on how comfortable you are with video. For me, I tend to do it on my day 3 because I don't think about this anymore, but that's not a normal expectation because I make videos all the time. I own a social media agency. But for people that's a little bit more stressful, that's a half day, somewhere, right? But the do it day. So the do it day is if you're making the graphics, that's the day you make the graphics. If you're writing the caption, that's the day you're writing the caption. If you're editing your videos, that's the day you edit your videos. If you have outsourced to that, that's the day you're reviewing your stuff.
Okay.
And sending it back for revisions to make sure that things get done on time so that you're not chasing your tail. right? And I do recommend doing this a month at a time. So like say the first week of July is when you're planning August's content so that you have time to work with other people, and you're also, life happens, especially when you own your own business, and life just happens. And so it gives you the flex to keep things moving. Right?
That's right. People get sick, people travel, people deal with all sorts of things.
Clients have emergencies. Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff that comes up. So day 3 is your do it day.
Okay.
All right. Day 4 is your read it all over one more time and schedule it day.
Okay.
Schedule your content. Please. As a business owner, please schedule your content, or have a virtual assistant schedule your content. You don't necessarily need to sit there and do that because it's not a super complicated task, but it is time consuming.
Yeah.
So schedule your content and have a margarita, or if you don't drink, have an iced tea or something. And celebrate the fact that you're done. And now you just need to pay attention for engagement. But that's how. So that's my, I know that was like pretty in depth there, but that is like a big deal. Like that is such a big deal. That system is so stinking important.
Well, and here's what I really like about it, right? Because I think there's people who might be looking at it saying, well, no, maybe I just need to make it part of my daily routine and do it every day. Do it one piece where I plan it, record. I wear all those 4 hats, right? I'm planning, recording it, I'm scheduling it, I'm doing all that on the same day. And if I just make a routine, it's fine. I can do it in X many minutes. Well, then if you lose a day, all of a sudden you're,
Well, it's not just that. People get caught up in the concept of using social media like a journal. It's not a journal. You are creating, like even like lifestyle influencers and stuff like that. Like, that is not accurate, up to date, and it doesn't need to be. This idea that like right this second things that like I can only post a day in the life from yesterday, today, or else it's old.
Yeah.
No. Wrong. Nobody cares. Nobody's paying that much attention except for you. And honestly, even if you look back a couple of weeks later, you might not remember that it wasn't. So that doesn't make any that. Yeah, it's absolutely, like filming content. I film content on a regular basis, B-roll content and stuff like that, just to have in my library. But when you're getting started, what you can do is during that planning, like the how day, you pick which clips you need. And then during that week, you take that little bit of time to get those clips. You don't have to, you're a business owner. You don't have to be a full-time content creator to be a business owner unless you really want to. And then by all means, like have at it. But this system is for people who don't want to be overwhelmed by their stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's very fair. And I think it just gives us, sometimes we're, if social media is not our world, right, or not the business owner's world, you don't understand that to make something look effortless, it takes effort.
Yeah.
Right. And it takes planning, it takes thinking. And so you're seeing the end result. You're not looking behind the scenes to see how it's made. Right. And having that structure allows you the time and, the state of mind to make something look effortless and professional and something that connects with your audience.
Exactly. And the second thing that I was going to say, because I know I went really hard in the how to like do the systems bit. The front end work of a strategy will eliminate so much overwhelm because you're not constantly coming up with new pieces of content, and knowing how to refine really like good content ideas. Like one solid, strong content idea can be so many pieces of content. You do not have to constantly go back to the drawing board. In fact, if you are constantly going back to the drawing board, I'm going to say you're probably doing it wrong. Unless you are a creator and a creative by nature, and that is like what you enjoy doing, and like and it brings like life for you and stuff like that. Like, because I'm a little bit that way. But unless that is your unique situation, constantly going back to the drawing board is going to drain you. And so what you can do instead is do something like a long form piece of content, like the one we're shooting right now. And you can pull out clips from that. You can take top points from each of those clips and turn it into a text overlay reel or into a carousel or into a static, like you can repeat the same idea because like, I mean, I think you mentioned this last episode. It takes people 7 to 12 times to be willing to like even make that first step with a brand.
Yeah.
So do you really think that you're going to be repeating yourself so much that you make people frustrated by replicating information? By the time you as a business owner are bored of it, your audience is just starting to remember that it's happening.
Yeah.
So like, don't make it harder on yourself than it needs to be unless it's like literally creating joy.
I like that. All right. So I want to get a little more technical.
All right.
On a couple things. So how do you help small businesses decide which social media platforms they should be on?
Well, that's all about their audience, right? And I do have a slight caveat to that, which is if they're managing it themselves, you really, even if your audience is there, you shouldn't go anywhere you absolutely abhor because you won't do it.
Yeah.
And so we kind of have to find a happy medium there. But if I could just, like, the big piece of advice is you got to go where your audience is. You got to go where the people are looking to engage with you in the way that they are looking to engage with you. So if you are a B2B business, LinkedIn is going to be really important. But if you're a B to little b business, where people are acting more like, where business owners are acting a little bit more like consumers than they are like corporate entities, which is super common and super normal, and there's nothing wrong with that, your B2B business might actually perform better on Instagram.
Okay.
Because people are more in that consumer mindset. And that's just like, you need to think about who your people are and the psychographic of who they are. And that's where you pick your platform. Yeah, it's really that straightforward, and you don't have to be everywhere. I recommend you claim real estate everywhere. Like get your handle so that nobody else can take it.
That's a good point.
But you do not have to be everywhere, especially when you're first getting started. You need to pick where your audience is, get into the habit of actually showing up in that space. And then if you find that you want to do more, grow into more. But trying to do everything at once is going to make you tired, and it's going to mess with your consistency.
Yeah, absolutely. And when they are in those spaces where maybe like Instagram, for instance, where, you know, you're still talking to business owners, but you're trying to like catch them while they're behaving more like consumers, is like, do you think it's a better strategy for the business to be presenting itself as a business or to be leveraging like personal profiles, or like what's the best way to?
I think that depends.
Okay.
So social media is social. So whether you are a company or a person as a brand, you need to be social. So you're kind of needing to occupy that middle ground in a lot of ways. Because if you show up corporate and boring, nobody cares about you. And that's true on LinkedIn too. Like nobody likes that. We've seen too much of it. Yeah. I mean, think about all the commercials and crap we see every single day. Like it's not, that won't catch attention. So there does need to be a human aspect to it. Then when it comes to personal versus company for effectiveness, I always think about the long-term trajectory of what you're trying to do. Okay, so like I have a personal brand and I have a company brand. And frankly, I've invested more into my personal brand than my company brand when it comes to social media. The reason for that is Wildflower is and will grow into being more so a team. It is not just me. And I don't want it to be just me. I want it to become its own entity. I mean, who knows? Maybe I'll sell it someday, but I don't want it to be based off of me. And I knew that from the beginning. And so I built that out separately. My personal brand, I talk about things from Wildflower and I showcase that I'm an expert, but really it's about growing myself and showing myself as a professional and as a young person who's stepping into all these spaces and building routines and, you know, the tagline, like building a life, actually, like that sort of thing, because that will continue to grow with me into anything I create in the future.
I like that.
So it's beginning with the end in mind, and you can always change stuff. It's not that you like are locked in for life. Like that's not what I'm saying, but that's how I answer that question is if you had a moonshot, right? If you could get anything you wanted, what would the ideal picture be? And then build in a way that supports you getting to that goal.
Got it.
Yeah.
And I think that ties back to something we talked about a couple of podcasts back, which was like the entrepreneurs who have like these different interests and passions in businesses.
Yes.
Right. Much more so than building a business profile that is talking about all these completely different things, or building a website that, again, is talking about things that are completely disconnected. Maybe the personal profiles where you get to do that and point to one business here, another business there, and so forth.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That could be like that thread that connects things.
100%.
So what are some of the mistakes that you see small businesses doing in social media?
Oh my goodness. The big one is that we're treating it like a tactic or a to-do list item that we check off.
Uh-huh.
So I'm a big believer that marketing is a system and not a task. And that applies to social media as well. Unfortunately, social media seems to almost always get relegated into a tactics or just like task item that has to get done. And then they wonder why it doesn't work. And it's because we're not thinking with the end in mind. We're not thinking strategically. And we are so focused on volume that we're sacrificing quality because we're not playing the long game. And it's hard to focus on quality and focus on doing something really well when you're only thinking in short term, because the effort that you have to put in, it just feels really extreme. So like, I think a good example of this, right, is I did an audit a couple years ago for they don't know I did this, so they won't know who this is. But I did an audit for a friend for a client of theirs, which was a tanning salon. And they were like, why doesn't social media work for us? Social media doesn't work for us. Social media. Okay, they're a tanning salon. Social media most definitely works for them if used strategically. But the entire thing was just posters of specials.
Oh, yeah.
They were treating it like a billboard because they weren't thinking about it with the end in mind. They were thinking, oh, I need to post something when I think I need to post something, and that is it. And when you act like that on social, it's not going to work. Instead of, they had like no lifestyle type content for a tanning salon, no lifestyle type content, no collaborative partnerships, no before and afters, like the things that take longer to put in place and take longer to make, that are really more for your audience than they are for you. None of it was there. And that's, I think, a really good example of something that makes total sense as to why we do it, but small businesses do often.
Yeah, that's a big one that I see as well.
Yeah.
I mean, and like you can tell the difference in engagements of the businesses that do versus the ones that don't.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if you're not providing value, you're not giving people a reason to come back. Like
your marketing is not about you.
Yeah. I mean, absent of like the Super Bowl, who sits there and watches ads all day? Yeah. Yeah. That's when you start thinking about it that way.
Marketing students.
Yeah, it's few and far between. Right. All right. So, can you share an example of a small business that dramatically improved results by adjusting their social media strategy?
Sure. Yeah, I've got one. I'm not going to say them by name because I don't want any sort of feelings around that. But I had a home services company. And they had somebody who was not trained in social, who had it as like a task tacked on to the rest of their stuff with like no background. And she was putting up stuff every once in a while, just like graphics, and promoting the home services product. And they had like, your national days. So they had like 4th of July and Christmas and things like that. But they occasionally put up things like, we do service. What we did is we switched over to leveraging short form video, which is higher effort. And we did a combination of montage clips with trending audio and text overlay. And kind of like meet the team, talk to camera, like they were just talking to the camera and talking to the audience about the thing they were doing. And voiceovers showing the thing that they were doing in process with the beginning, middle, and end result, while they were adding value with the voiceover and not just explaining what was in the video. Those are all harder They require somebody to remember to shoot on a home services site. They require somebody to edit something. They require the understanding of audio licensing to a certain degree, because you can't pull trending audio off of platforms and use it on other platforms. I'm going to say that again because that is a legal issue that companies do all the time, and it makes me so scared for you. So please don't do it, because you don't need to do that. There are awesome libraries with audio. You do not need to do that. And then it also requires the scripting for a voiceover. So it is a higher effort thing. It's not crazy high. Like if you follow that process I outlined earlier, it can honestly get done relatively simply. But having the foresight to put forth that effort to do it. And I mean, they grew from like 200 followers with an average of like 3 likes per post to 12,000 followers.
Wow, yeah.
In the span of like a little under a year. Wow. They had multiple viral videos that went into the millions, hundreds of thousands, and now their videos are more in like that 10,000 range because that moment has passed. But you know, it's that sort of thing. Yeah. But it's that intentional effort and reworking the content. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and then you peak and then you come back down, but you have a new baseline, and you're able to track things and look at metrics and, you know, kind of.
And the other reason that helped though is okay. So they had a video that went viral, and that's great. But as we mentioned before, going viral without preparation is not helpful. So what we did instead was we looked at it and we went, why did this go viral? What did we do that made people care? And we made another one like it. And that one did better.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Because the first one went viral for them. The next one went viral for viral. So like it, you know, like over 1 million hits in that sort of space. And I'm not sitting here guaranteeing that that's going to happen, but when you see something start to happen, when you see some momentum start to take place, looking at it and doubling down on what you think it was will continue to up level that baseline. Yeah.
I want to hang out in this space where we're talking a little bit about virality a little bit. Right. Does a business need to go viral to grow and social and to leverage it into something that can help?
No, of course not. It's
please hear that. Please hear that.
It's fun to share it as a case study because I got these really great results, right? And that's awesome. And also, when I sit down with people and I share that case study, I add it with a really strong asterisk disclaimer, which is can't control virality, and you can still get results without it. What makes the reason that content went viral is the same reason that it was effective. Which is that it spoke directly to their target audience about something they cared about. And they did it well. That's it. That's what you have to do on social media, is speak directly to your consumer about things that they care about in a way that is interesting. That's like, that's 99. But as I said in an episode or two ago, simple does not mean easy. But it is that simple.
All right. Well, I like that. I think that gives a lot of perspective into just because a lot of time businesses have this goal, right, of like, what is it going to take for me to grow viral? And maybe that's not the right question to ask. It's what is it going to take to grow my business? What's it going to take to find my audience, right?
What's it going to take to build community?
Yeah.
Because when you build community on social, that is what actually makes the rest of the results more evergreen. Because I mean, we all love a good peak in sales. We do, right? As business owners, I love it when I have a top month. Absolutely. But that gentle, calm, like warm feeling of consistent revenue, of consistency, and of knowing that things are moving in the right direction. That's what community gives you. Yeah. And it helps you withstand storms as well. And so social media is like, there's a lot of different things you can do with social media, and leads is obviously one of them. Although if your goal is mainly leads, I do recommend you combine your organic with meta advertising, but there's so many things that you can do with it, like building credibility and helping people through the buyer's journey and building community and nurturing your audience and attracting talent and attracting ambassadors and generating or soliciting UGC content and stuff like that. There's so many things you can do with social media itself that, like, again, begin with the end in mind. Virality is not the most beneficial thing that you can use social media for.
Yeah. So you mentioned meta ads, and I want to get a little off script and talk about meta ads and how it relates to organic content.
Sure.
Because I know of a pretty good success story that you've had with a client that we've both worked together where I think it was the combination of those two factors of everything that was being done organically with Meta just had a really powerful result for that business. So speak to me a little bit about how, what is the relationship between organic and between Meta and, how they come together to help support a small business?
Sure. I'm going to take a slight step back from that to provide a little context.
Yeah.
I used to not offer meta advertising to businesses. And the reason I chose not to do that is because I didn't want small businesses to use meta advertising as a Band-Aid for a larger problem. Because that is the instinct. It is more immediately gratifying. And if you do that, your cost per everything is going to be way higher.
Yeah.
So eventually you end up throwing money down the drain. So when you use organic content, your organic content will inform you of what type of ads are going to perform well. So leveraging organic and then applying what you learned from organic to meta advertising is going to reduce your cost per conversion and will save you a ton of money in the long run. It's also just going to be more effective and more on brand, right? Also, when you're producing content organically, it supports your meta advertising. It makes it more look like English Elizabeth. It makes it look more like a whole project, like a whole process. So like if you click on an ad and you go to their page and it's empty, we already don't trust ads. Like the consumer is smart enough to largely not trust things that say sponsored at the top. So if you just go straight into something that's dead, that's not serving, that's not operating with the audience in mind, you're going to lose those people. And so I think that organic provides a lot of context for like the point that is meta advertising. I think it creates a lot of the context that helps it aim, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
All right. So going back into just organic content specifically,
Sure.
What type of content tends to resonate the most with small business audiences?
I don't know why I let that question be in there because there's no universal answer to that.
It depends.
Yeah,
right.
It does.
That's
It does.
The unofficial title of the podcast.
Because here's the thing. Doing what everybody else is doing is not the way that you win at this. Right? So when you think about small business audiences, and it's going to depend product, service, what type of service, what price point, all of these other things as to whether or not this makes sense and which piece of content you should be doing. But in general, content that performs best for small businesses is content that you created based on what your consumer wants and needs. Largely, it's give them what they want so you can give them what you need, what they actually need. That's a little bit of it, right? So different personalities will have different brands, more than personalities, will have different methods for approaching organic content. Like most estate planning attorneys are not going to dance in reels. And honestly, it would take a very specific case and a specific brand for that to work in the first place. But you know what? Car wash, your employees doing it, that could just be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like that's totally fine. What doesn't work is 100% trying to sell stuff all the time. that's the thing, that there is a universal thing that does not work. And that is what does not work, is every single post being a, look at this thing you can buy. Look at this thing you can buy. Look at this thing you can buy. Hey, we have a pain point and look at this thing you can buy. No. You're being selfish.
Yeah.
You're making it all about you. And
don't be selfish with your marketing.
Your marketing is not about you.
Yeah. Now, how important is it for a brand to showcase like authenticity and personality in their posts? Like, and is there a way that they can kind of incorporate that naturally?
Oh, it's incredibly important. It's a lot of what turns it from just like random graphics that nobody cares about into an actual brand, is being authentic to your brand. Now, that does not mean that we use our social media as a diary. I think I referenced this a little bit earlier, but that does not mean that we do that. We don't have to spill all of our deepest, darkest secrets about our business or about ourselves on our social media in order for it to be effective. Now, if that is who you are and that is what you are comfortable with, more power to you. And it's not necessary. Instead, when we're thinking about showing up authentically, talking about, let's use you as an example.
Let's go.
All right. So I am going a little bit off of the script that I thought about here, but when we use you as an example, right? So you have a website and branding agency. If all we did was show before and after clips of the websites you made, that would fall flat. Now, I'm not saying we can't show before and after of what your websites are, but if we show before and after with a case study format, that's going to be so much stronger. And I do not mean a stuffy white paper type, because that doesn't fit your brand.
Yeah.
Your brand is this fun and energetic and like lively brand. Your brand is what is that thing that you ride around on?
A one wheel.
Yeah. Okay. So like,
okay. It's going to be in social media pretty soon, so that's okay.
Well, no, but it's a part, but it fits your brand.
Yeah, it does.
It 100% fits your brand, and that is perfect. Yeah. So like when we're thinking about that, your case study piece, your personality needs to show through the voiceovers of why you made the changes you did.
Yeah.
I don't want to see a script of, I did this and therefore this and therefore that, because that is not how you talk. That is not how you talk to your clients. That's not how you talk to me. And that's not what your brand is. So adding a little bit more fun and a little bit more light to something that is actually pretty directly promotional adds that authenticity piece, adds that branding piece. That is that feeling that's associated, right? So that's what I mean by incorporating authenticity. The leveraging stories to show behind the scenes of a product build that you're doing, right? Or something something of that nature, where we can see that you do the work, or of a chat with your team, or with permission, a chat with your client, and like those sorts of things, like being able to leverage like these are the real things that are happening in my business, tied in with the brand personality.
Yeah, I'll tell you a interesting story when it comes to the one wheel that I ride. So I had some friends earlier in my house this year, and was telling them a little bit about that, and I said, "Oh yeah, I love it. I ride to meetings, right?" And one of the friends goes, "And people still hire you? Show up on that thing?" Like, and then he stopped for a second, and like my other buddy went, "Well, think about it. Maybe if your attorney showed up in that, or like more like serious for your accountant, a more serious profession, you'd think twice. But he's your web designer. You kind of expect him to be a little bit kooky, and a little bit different. So that I feel that kind of fits." And
yeah, it's my same thing as like I generally wear jeans. I don't think anything of it. Like I generally wear jeans. I have worn maybe some sleeker and less professional things out to like networking events and stuff like that. Not all the way into the non-professional realm, but a little bit more internet. Yeah. Because I own a social media agency. That's kind of what you expect. Yeah. It'd be a little weird if I looked like I worked for like IBM. That would be a little strange. Yeah. So.
Nice. All right. And bring us back here.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, so what are some low effort but high impact strategies that small businesses can start using immediately?
Low impact, low
Low,
effort, high impact. Not the other way that my
not
brain
the
just
other way.
did that. No, that's not, you don't want that from me.
I think we're already doing that. Like, small business owners already do the opposite.
Yeah.
High effort, low impact.
Okay. Low effort. See,
Low effort is tough, right?
low effort is tough because low effort is relative.
Mm-hmm.
What I think would be a really good thing to start making a difference is starting to get yourself comfortable on camera. Because that's a big fear that a lot of small business owners have, is they have a lack of confidence on camera. They don't want to hear their own voice. They don't want to see their face. They don't want to watch themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's totally valid. Like the aforementioned viral video.
No.
Like I had to go through some personal growth to be able to tolerate that. Right? And that's fine. So in order to do that, I would practice showing up on stories each day.
Mm-hmm.
So, and what I mean by that is like, take a selfie somewhere you are,
Mm-hmm.
or get a photo taken and add some context, or maybe share like a quick tip in your stories, because stories only last for 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not super high pressure. It doesn't have to be perfect. And frankly, unless people really care about your company, they're not going to see it.
Yeah.
So it's not that it's the most high impact for your marketing efforts, but it's hugely high impact for your mindset around showing up for your marketing efforts. And it's going to make all of those other things seem like less of a hill to climb.
I like that. And then how can small businesses measure success on social media beyond just follower counts or likes?
Yeah, those two metrics are not good metrics for success. Those are not, I mean, like, you can benchmark if you like, but that's, so many people buy from brands that they have never engaged with a post and they have never followed. That is super normal. So instead, you've got to tie it back to your business goals. So you got to start at the beginning. You have to start with the end in mind. What do you want to accomplish from social media? What do you want actually, I'm going to take it a step further back. What do you want to accomplish with your marketing?
Mm-hmm.
And then how can social media help you do that? And that's how you figure out what you want to accomplish with social media.
Yeah.
Then that kind of depends on the metric that you pick, right? So brand awareness, that's reach and views or impressions. Now, to be clear, because these numbers are confusing for people, reach is the number of individual users who have seen your content.
Okay.
Impressions and views are the number of times that your content has been seen. There's a slight difference there.
Yeah, because you may have multiple users or the same user watching multiple times.
Right. So if you watch my video 3 times, that's 1 reach and 3 impressions or 3 views. So that's really important when it comes to frequency. But I'm getting a little bit too meta for this particular one. But so basically but brand awareness, that's what you're going to care about, is your reach and your views. For your consideration for your building of community, you're going to look for content interactions.
Okay.
And that can be a lot of different things. That can be comments, that can be likes, that can be saves, that can be shares. That varies depending, is specifically on which platform you're on as to like what's available to you. But that is really important. I also would consider DMs to be something as well that you could look at for that. When you are looking at interest, right? So not exactly direct conversions, but interest. You're looking at profile visits and link clicks.
Okay.
Because seeing an increase in those means that your content has made them want to learn more about what you have to offer. So, slight recap because that was a little long-winded. Business goals. What is your business trying to accomplish? How is your marketing supporting that? How is your social media supporting that? And then using those to pick KPIs.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's good.
Thank you.
Hey, Liz, this has been fun. We're getting to the point where we're wrapping up, but Gosh, I appreciate all the knowledge that you shared today. I mean, it's always fascinating to me because that's a little bit outside my world, right? And so whenever you get a chance to just really dive into social media stuff, I always learn something. So thank you.
Yeah.
First off, and then as we're wrapping up, let's talk about one simple action that people can take after this episode to enhance their social media presence.
One simple action. Okay. Here's what I want you to do. Pick whichever is your primary channel that you've put the most effort into or that you want to put the most effort into. Okay? I want you to take a look at your bio, like the information that's in your bio, and tell me, does it tell your customer what they need to know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, does it make sense? Is it helpful? Do not put hashtags there. They don't go there. But seriously, like, take a look. Like, if you are an estate planning attorney, then it needs to say something about being an estate planning attorney and the services that you offer. If you are a bakery, then it needs to have the location of that bakery, right? The city for SEO purposes, because there is SEO in social. It's just something we didn't even dive into, but I'm sure we will in a later episode. And the top things that people are interested in. Take a look, if you're on Instagram, at your highlights and make sure it supports that. And since it's just one, that's where I would stop, is take an audit of when people land on that first page, like when they check out your page, what impression are you giving them? And is it the right one? And just spend some time thinking on it. If you were not familiar with your company, would this be clear to you? Or are you filling information in using the context that you have in your brain that somebody who's never heard of you before is not going to have?
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. Now, if there's one thing that listeners remember today from this episode, what do you want it to be?
Begin with the end in mind.
Yep.
That's
simple, that's clear, and that'll just bring a lot of clarity into everything that you do. And I'll add one thing. If there's a second thing that you can remember, I think what you talked about in terms of like just planning and preparing and splitting up the work that you do, if you're doing it yourself, into those 4 weeks.
Yeah.
I think that's so important because that will help remove that or decrease that feeling of overwhelm that people often have with social media.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
So are there any topics that you want listeners to think about for future episodes? Things you want to consider as far as like what we do with social or what other topics within social we talk about next? And I'll go first because you mentioned the SEO side of the, where organic Google website type SEO and what you do in social media. I think that would be a fascinating discussion.
Well, especially since, we're filming this early and this is a new thing right now. But social media is starting to rank, like Facebook and LinkedIn have always kind of ranked well on Google search for stuff, but you are starting to now see individual social media posts ranking on Google. And so SEO they've been working this way for a while. I've been talking about focusing on keywords and stuff like that instead of like hashtags and that sort of world for social media for a while now. But it has never been more important than it is in this moment.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something we're going to need to talk about.
Well, I'm looking forward to that conversation.
Yeah, I'm excited for it too.
All right. So, hey, everyone, this is a wrap. Liz, thank you very much. This was a masterclass. I mean, honestly, it was a blast. Thank you for all the knowledge you shared. And we'll catch you all next time.
Yep.